Yeah. Should I do an intro? Or
Yeah, just something quick.
Okay. What should we call this one? Like the update?
I think we call it the halftime show.
Okay. Welcome to the Sun Journal's tournament update. This is the halftime show.
Halftime, kind of halfway point of the tournament.
Catching up and reassessing the tournament.
Who's Charles Barkley?
I don't think any of us are Charles Barkley.
Terrible.
So let's start with the boys tournament. What has surprised you guys from what you've seen so far? Any surprises?
I thought the AA games, the semifinals, would be a little more competitive and maybe a little more clean. But other than that, I mean, not really a ton of surprises. I mean, Class C, I can't say that Wayne Fleet was an upset. Them winning was an upset. Winthrop took care of business on their end. I know on the B side, some people were shocked by how prolific Spruce Mountain was, but anybody that's watched them all year, it really wasn't. I mean, you don't expect somebody, like Mason Shink to go out and rain threes down, but that's pretty much the way they've played all season.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like we said in our first video, that we thought that Spruce Mountain was going to kind of do what they did. Like maybe, like you said, not, Shink going off, but
Right.
that they were going to, up and down and, play in the Expo like they can.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
And it was surprising that they did it without two of their players, Fry,
Yep.
and Parker for most of the game. Shows their depth. I was kind of surprised at how well Lisbon played. Not because they're not good, but they shot the ball really well too. I think they made 11 3-pointers in the game, and they played a solid one too. What about so we've talked about the C, Winthrop and Wayne Fleet. The first half of Wayne Fleet, I thought, wow, how is this the 7th seed?
Right.
And then they let Richmond get back into the game.
Right.
So do you think that's going to be the final matchup between those two teams?
Yeah, I think so. I think, Wayne Fleet still has some key parts from last year's regional championship team, and, they showed, I think, the other day that they're just as talented and maybe even a little deeper than they were last year. I think the biggest difference between them this year and last year is, their guards aren't quite as experienced. They don't rely on them for leadership quite as much as they have in the last couple of years, but they're still very talented. And the Den kid's a tough matchup for a lot of people, and I think they're gonna be a tough out next round. But they got Madison next, so Madison's pretty good. I'm not gonna count them out, but I thought it would be a Wayne Fleet Winthrop final, and I'm sticking with it.
And when you look at Wayne Fleet, you got to look at that the regular season they play in the WMC, hardens them, especially as a C team playing up to against some of those B teams.
Yeah.
They play some tough teams throughout the regular season. Not that Madison doesn't, but
Right.
we talk about the WMC. Especially the C teams going up and playing some of those WMC B teams.
And NYA's the same way
Yeah.
too. I was impressed with them in their quarterfinal game as well. They're gonna be tough for Winthrop. So. I think there's really no major surprises there so far, but I wouldn't be completely bowled over with the All Western Maine Conference final. But I think this is Winthrop's year. I think they showed it in their quarterfinal game. They're playing with a serious chip on their shoulder this year, and they have Jacob Hickey, and that's a pretty good combination.
And if Wayne Fleet wins the game before that Winthrop's gonna is going to really be motivated to match up with Wayne Fleet in another final.
Absolutely, they're going to want another crack at them, and I think they're going to get it.
I think that could be one of the great matchups in the state too, because both teams don't lack height, and they have a lot of athleticism, and that's going to be like a legitimate.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch. The Class E tournament's probably always my favorite, and it usually doesn't disappoint.
Okay. What about Class B? We talked about Spruce Mountain. What about Oak Hill?
They got Yarmouth next, and that's a tough hill to climb. I mean, they can't certainly have Marcus Bailey in foul trouble like they did in their last game against Lincoln Academy. He's really the only guy that can they can match up with Yarmouth's big men, just in terms of length and athleticism. Evan Boston had a coming out party in the quarterfinal, and he's a kid that can kind of carry that over. It's going to be interesting to see how their shooters and all the shooters adjust to the Cross Insurance Arena.
Yes.
For the semifinals, you go from playing in the Expo, which is this cozy, comfy kind of high school type of court, to playing in an airplane hangar in the semifinals, and a lot of times teams have difficulty getting used to the surroundings and the background and stuff. So guys like Evan Boston and Cohen Donnell, guys that they've been relying on to provide some balance for them, are going to be tested in that game.
And it's funny, even going from a high school gym to the Expo can sometimes be a little bit of a transition.
Sure.
But yeah, you watch the games at the Cross Arena, and sometimes when the first quarter of a game, you'll see, well, that's kind of a weird shot. Oh, it's kind of a short shot, and you realize these kids, they're trying to figure out it just all their visual cues are so much different, and just trying to shoot with darkness in the background, and you'd see some really weird looking shots.
And the floor is different, just the atmosphere. I mean, it's just a totally foreign environment for a lot of the kids that are playing there for the first time.
And with Yarmouth having been there before, that gives them a leg up on an Oak Hill team.
Yeah, Yarmouth's just an outstanding team all around. They're the best team, I think, in Class B South until somebody proves that they aren't.
Okay. And then the big Double-A showdown between Edward Little and Portland. What kind of a team is Portland? I know they were the number 1 seed in the Heel points. How does EL match up with them?
Well, they beat them earlier in the season in Auburn. Kind of a low-scoring game. It's the kind of game that EL wanted. The big key for them was they were able to do a pretty good job on Teron Moss, the Portland point guard, who's just an outstanding player. Threw a bunch of different looks at him. I mean, they had, Wall at the top of the press, and you got the 6'9" wingspan, and that's something that Moss isn't used to seeing. But they did some different stuff with guys like C.J. Gibson and guys like that. Defensively, I think Edward Little's up to the challenge. Portland's really quick, really athletic, and the big thing they have in their favor is experience. I mean, so it's going to be their 4th straight. They're playing for their 4th straight regional title. So, Yale can't afford to get down early, I don't think. Portland's a very tough team to come back on, not just because of what they can do defensively, but Moss just can control a game so well. He's so tough to turn over, so tough to trap. Some of the things that Yale likes to do, he makes very difficult. So I think it's going to be a great game. I'd love to see the Eddies pull it off. I think at this point you would probably have to consider an upset just because of the tournament cachet that Portland brings, but they certainly have the capability of doing it. They've already shown it this season.
And it's funny you talk about Moss. Tuesday night, EL coach Mike Adams said that the tournament is usually where guards star and guards win, and Moss was all over the place against Oxford Hills. But EL, Tyler Moore had a great 4th quarter against Wyndham. Between him and C.J. Gibson's defense, and Samatar Aman can play the up top on the wing. So it is going to be interesting to see how they defend Moss second time around. And like you said, if they get down, they're going to have to start forcing some threes. Yes, they can make them, but are they going to make them in a game like that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's too bad that it's being played in Augusta, even though it's my favorite venue, because you're going to get about half the crowd that game deserves, unfortunately, because I think it could be a classic. Yeah. A lot of people who weren't there will claim to have been there.
Okay, and then I kind of backtrack a little bit as we finish off. Spruce Mountain in their game against, I knew it a few minutes ago. Wells, that's right, Wells, because I saw them play the other day. And Wells didn't look. Their defense shut down Maranacook for the most part, but I think Maranacook also just missed a ton of shots that they would normally make. I think their best scorer didn't even score till the 4th quarter. They just couldn't do anything. So it's kind of hard for me to judge how is Wells going to do against Spruce Mountain, because the very next game, I went from a game that nobody could make anything to a game where everybody made everything. So it seemed like, yeah, Spruce Mountain definitely has the edge there, but Wells could be a pretty tough team too. They have some good players, obviously.
But of course, they met during the regular season.
Yeah, a fairly close one.
And Spruce beat them. And the thing about that game was Spruce got taken out of their element in a lot of ways by Wells and by some of the things that they did. That wasn't in any way similar to their quarterfinal. They were struggling shooting the ball. Their offense really didn't have the kind of flow that they normally have. But they were able to muck it up and win and still win, mostly because of their defense. And that's got to be a big confidence booster for them, knowing that if they go into the cross insurance arena, they will probably have to adjust, but if they can't adjust, they can still kind of, win that kind of game, win that kind of, 52 to 50 kind of game. But like you say, Wells has a lot of talent, and that's a tough matchup for Spruce, no question about it.
Okay. All right, well, we'll see what happens when the games are actually played. Thanks.